The Oval Office fell silent today. Cameras rolled, history was made, and what happened next sent shockwaves through Washington's criminal underworld. A legendary prosecutor who spent decades putting murderers and rapists and predators behind bars just received the ultimate promotion. The swamp's two-tier justice system? Well, it's about to face its worst nightmare. DC's crime syndicate thought they were untouchable. They thought cartels, the cartels thought they owned the streets. The corrupt politicians thought their protection racket would last forever. Well, they were wrong, dead wrong. And what President Trump just did in that sacred office changes the game completely. And the woman that he chose, well, she's prosecuted the worst of the worst. Now she's coming for Washington's criminals. And trust me, they should be terrified. You need to see this. Now, justice starts from within, and so does taking care of yourself. As we age, our body's collagen production declines, just like DC's justice system declined under weak leadership. But while Judge Pirro restores law and order to our capital, you can restore your skin's youthful appearance with ageless multi-collagen. This powerful formula includes 5 key types of collagen from 4 premium sources, fighting wrinkles and sagging skin the way that Pirro fights crime, effectively and without mercy. No clumping, no odor, just results. So head to healthwithgary.com for 51% off and start your own restoration today. That's healthwithgary.com. And speaking of transformations, what happened in the Oval Office today will transform justice in our nation's capital. President Trump just swore in Judge Jeanine Pirro as the new U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia. The criminals terrorizing D.C. streets, well, their free ride just ended. And Trump introduced Pirro with the kind of praise reserved for true warriors of justice. Listen to him describe the prosecutor who revolutionized how America fights crime. Watch.
Over 5 decades, Jeanine Pirro, known by millions as Judge Jeanine, has devoted her life to the pursuit of justice, the defense of freedom, and the fair, equal, and impartial rule of law. And that's what she's about. She was a great DA. I remember her very well. She was as good as anybody I've seen. She began a career in 1975 as an assistant district attorney in Westchester County, New York, where she prosecuted violent crimes. And that was a serious prosecutor. And she went after real criminals, not fake criminals like we seem to do today nowadays. People that shouldn't be prosecuted, including rape, murder, and was a tireless warrior on behalf of the most vulnerable people in our society. In that role, Jeanine helped create one of our country's first domestic violence bureaus. I think it was the first, Jeanine. And as its chief, she revolutionized victim protection and bold, innovative policies like very few people even thought of. In 1990, Jeanine became the first female judge in Westchester County history. And following the year, and by the way, very distinguished, had an unbelievable, distinguished career. And in the following years, she presided over numerous complex criminal cases. The reason they were complex is that other judges were not able to understand them. They were called the complex cases. My sister had them, too. They always used to give her the complex cases because other people didn't understand them, including high-stakes felony narcotics trials. Her outstanding judicial record earned her the honor of being named the #1 judge in 1990 by the Independent Fund for Modern Courts. That's nationwide. Outstanding judge. The following year, Judge Jeanine was elected Westchester County District Attorney, became the top prosecutor for a jurisdiction that included some of the largest suburbs in New York City, including Yonkers and White Plains. It's a big deal. As District Attorney, Jeanine tackled high-profile violent crime cases and established one of the nation's most successful cybercrime units to combat online child abuse. She was way ahead of a lot of people. They still aren't there, if you get right down. I mean, from what I hear, they're still not there in many cases back there where we come from. In addition to her stellar legal career, Jeanine also excelled in news media as you know, and she's become one of the most beloved political figures through her time on television, because she's been very, very successful at a thing called television. She got out of what she was doing, and frankly, she does them both great, but she's really, to me, she'll always be known as a great lawyer and a great prosecutor, which is what she's doing now. So Jeanine Pirro, I have no doubt, will be an exceptional U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, one of the truly most important positions in our country, of any position, where she will restore public safety in our nation's capital, break up vicious street gangs and criminal networks, and ensure equal justice under the law. You'll see very, very big improvements in the D.C. area, that I can promise you. So I want to congratulate Jeanine. I want to congratulate you and Christine and your whole family on this undertaking. And
5 decades fighting for justice, and now she's Washington's top prosecutor. And the swamp should be terrified. And the swearing-in ceremony itself was electric. Watch as Judge Jeanine takes the oath that makes her D.C. chief law enforcement officer. Watch.
I do solemnly swear
I, Jeanine Pirro, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and that I take this obligation freely,
and that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
of
the office upon which I am about to enter.
Upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
From her seat at the table on Fox News on the 5 to the judge's bench. Now, that oath means business. D.C. criminals better start packing. Their protector just left the building. But it was Pirro's own remarks that sent chills through the swamp. She didn't mince words about what's coming for the Capitol's criminal class. Watch.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Madam Attorney General, both my friends for many years. Long ago, I went to law school to study about justice and to bring justice to victims of violent crimes, women, children, and the elderly. I fought to give them a voice in a system that was both blind and deaf to their concerns. I dedicated my heart and soul to making sure that there was a system that responded to them. My profile and my prosecutorial successes garnered public attention, and my life took unexpected turns. Through all of this, President Trump, you have remained as steadfast as one of my earliest supporters and champions. You never wavered. You were always steadfast, trustworthy, and confident. Today, Mr. President, you bring me back to my roots. And it is a larger arena, but no less an arena where we need justice, where we need to send a message that justice will be honored in the District of Columbia. And just last week, here in our nation's capital, 2 people on the brink of beginning their life had hopes and dreams that were never realized because a cold-blooded murderer made a decision to shoot them down on the streets on a cold, rainy night in our nation's capital. This will not go without just accounting. My voice should be heard loud and clear. No more tolerance of hatred, no more mercy for criminals. Violence will be addressed directly with the appropriate punishment. And this city will again become a shining city on a hill in an America that President Trump has promised to make great again and will make safe again. Mr. President, America thanks you, and I thank you.
No more tolerance of hatred, no more mercy for criminals. That's a declaration of war on crime. And just last week, two people starting their lives together were gunned down on D.C. streets. Cold-blooded murder in our nation's capital. Under previous leadership, their killers might walk free. Under Pirro, justice will be served hot and fresh. Now, this appointment matters because D.C. isn't just another city. It's the seat of American power. When crime runs rampant here, it sends a message to the world that America can't even protect its own capital. And Pirro's about to change that narrative. Remember, she built the nation's first domestic violence bureau. She pioneered cybercrime units before most people knew what that, even the internet, was. She prosecuted cases other judges called too complex to understand. This is not some political appointee. This is a legal assassin with a badge. And President Trump, he wasn't done making news in the Oval Office. When asked about Elon Musk's criticism of the big, beautiful bill, well, Trump laid out the reality of governing with zero Democrat support. Watch.
Mr. President, Elon Musk in a television interview criticized the one big, beautiful bill, saying he was disappointed it didn't cut enough, essentially, that it undercut the DOGE efforts. What's your reaction to that?
Well, the reaction's a lot of things. Number one, we have to get a lot of votes. We can't be cutting. We need to get a lot of support. And we have a lot of support. We had to get it through the House. The House was, we have no Democrats. If it's up to the Democrats, they'll take the 65% increase. If that doesn't get approved, this country is going to have a 65% increase in taxes and lots of other problems, big problems, almost bigger than that. But we'll have a 65% increase as opposed to the largest tax cut in the history of our country. We will be negotiating that bill, and I'm not happy about certain aspects of it, but I'm thrilled by other aspects of it. That's the way they go. It's very big. It's the big, beautiful bill, but the beautiful is because of all of the things we have. The biggest thing being, I would say, the level of tax cutting that we're going to be doing. We're going to make people really be able to, we'll have the lowest tax rate we've ever had in the history of our country, and tremendous amounts of benefit are going to the middle income people of our country, low and middle income people of our country. So we're going to see what happens, because the Senate, as you know, is negotiating with us, and they have to then go back to the House, and it's got a way to go. But I have to say, Speaker Johnson and Thune has done an incredible job. John Thune has done a fantastic job, and they're working together with me and others. And I think we have an amazing, if we pull this off, remember, we have zero Democrat votes because they're bad people. There's something wrong with them. They'll let people pour into our country. Single biggest problem is we had 21 million people pour into our country, probably higher than that. And they're people that weren't supposed to be here. And many of those people are bad. Murderers, drug dealers, the mentally insane. They were closing mental institutions all over the world, not South America, all over the world. They're coming into our country, and we're getting them out. And we're having a hard time because some judges aren't making it very easy for us, and it's tough enough. They approved that. They allowed that to happen to our country. We don't have one Democrat vote. And if I were a Democrat, I'd be voting for this bill, and I'd get elected to any position I want as a Democrat. They're crazy. They're voting for a 65% tax increase, and they're only doing it for hatred. They're not doing it for any reason. They know it's terrible. Terrible politics, in my opinion. But so we have no Democrat votes. That means we have to get almost all Republican votes, and I think we're very close to doing that. I think it'll be very successful. Yeah, please.
65% tax increase, or the largest tax cut in history. Democrats chose tax hikes out of pure hatred. The president also addressed the Harvard situation, calling out their anti-American stance and revealing that they're teaching remedial math to students who somehow got accepted. Watch.
How will the confrontation with Harvard end? Do you foresee?
I don't know. I don't know. Harvard's got to behave themselves. Harvard is treating our country with great disrespect, and all they're doing is getting in deeper and deeper and deeper. They've got to behave themselves. I'm looking out for the country and for Harvard. I want Harvard to do well. I want Harvard to be great again, probably, because how could it be great? How could it be great when you have Harvard announced 2 weeks ago that they're going to teach remedial mathematics, remedial, meaning they're going to teach low-grade mathematics like 2 + 2 is 4. How did these people get into Harvard if they can't do basic mathematics? How did they do it? I mean, people with 1,600 on their boards don't get in, and they're letting people in, and they're bragging about how they're teaching them basic mathematics. Where do these people come from? So we have to look at the list, and Harvard has to understand the last thing I want to do is hurt them. They're hurting themselves. They're fighting. You know, Columbia has been really, they were very, very bad what they've done. They're very anti-Semitic and lots of other things. But they're working with us on finding a solution. And, you know, they're taking off that hot seat. But Harvard wants to fight. They want to show how smart they are. And they're getting their ass kicked.
Oh, I love that guy. I love that guy. Harvard getting their ass kicked for fighting America. Yeah, that's one thing you don't do. All right? You love to see it happening in real time too, don't you? And Trump exposed who's really behind the campus chaos, not foreign students, but radical left lunatics causing trouble. Watch.
I want to make sure that the foreign students are people that can love our country. We don't want to see shopping centers exploding. We don't want to see the kind of riots that you had. And I'll tell you what, many of those students didn't go anywhere. Many of those students were troublemakers caused by the radical left lunatics in this country.
And many troublemakers never left. They're homegrown radicals, not imports. The enemy is within. The Harvard scandal goes deeper than anyone imagined. $5 billion from taxpayers while spreading anti-American, anti-Semitic poison. Watch.
See, look, Harvard has been a disaster. They've taken $5 billion plus. $5 billion. Nobody knew that they were making this kind. If we didn't do this, we would have never found this out, Pam. They're taking $5 billion. And I'd rather see that money go to trade schools. And by the way, they're totally anti-Semitic at Harvard, as you know, and some other colleges, too, in all fairness to them. And it's been exposed, very exposed. And I think they're dealing very badly. Every time they fight, they lose another $250 million. Yesterday, we found another $100 million. And they have, they have a fund, an endowment, $52 billion. All right? They get a lot of that from the United States. And I think it's ridiculous. I think everyone's coming up to me saying, we love the idea of trade schools with that kind of money and money from others, but money from them. You can have the best trade schools anywhere in the world. You give them to Iowa, Indiana, lots of good states, well-run states, and you give them the money. They can only be used for trade schools, and they'll teach people how to build motors and cars and AI.
Trade schools instead of woke indoctrination. That's making America great again, one graduate at a time. Now, on foreign policy, Trump revealed he's testing Putin's sincerity about ending the Ukraine conflict, giving him 2 weeks to prove that he wants peace. Watch.
Do you believe the Russians are being disrespectful when they say that your criticisms of Putin are simply an emotional response? And do you still believe that Putin actually wants to end the war?
I can't tell you that, but I'll let you know in about 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, we're going to find out very soon. We're going to find out whether or not he's tapping us along or not. And if he is, we'll respond a little bit differently. But it'll take about a week and a half, 2 weeks. We have Mr. Witkoff is here, who's doing a phenomenal job, is dealing with them very strongly right now. They seem to want to do something, but until the document is signed, I can't tell you. Nobody can. I can say this. That I'm very disappointed at what happened a couple of nights now, where people were killed in the middle of what you would call a negotiation. I'm very disappointed by that. Very, very disappointed.
2 weeks to show results or Trump changes tactics. That's real diplomacy with teeth. Middle East peace is also on the table. Trump's team is working on getting aid to Gaza while pushing for a lasting resolution. Watch.
I think that we are on the precipice of sending out a new term sheet that hopefully will be delivered later on today. The president is going to review it. and I have some very good feelings about getting to a long-term resolution, temporary ceasefire, and a long-term resolution, a peaceful resolution of that conflict.
A new term sheet coming today. Peace might be closer than we think. Trump delivering again. And Trump reflected on the horror of October 7th and the need to help Gaza's people while remembering what started this whole conflict. Watch.
No, we're dealing with the whole situation in Gaza. We're getting food to the people of Gaza. It's been a very nasty situation, very nasty fight. October 7th was a very nasty day, the worst that I think I've ever seen. It was a horrible day, and people aren't going to forget that either. So we'll see how that all works out.
Getting food to civilians while never forgetting October 7th. That is balanced leadership that America needs. And when asked about his conversation with Netanyahu, Trump admitted that he warned against actions that could derail the peace talks. Watch.
Ron, did you warn Prime Minister Netanyahu against taking some sort of actions that could disrupt the talks there in a phone call last week?
Well, I'd like to be honest. Yes, I did. Next question, please.
Looking back on sanctions,
I did, yeah.
If Senate Republicans want to push
It's not a warning. I said I don't think it's appropriate.
What exactly did you tell him? Did
I
you
just said I don't think it's appropriate. We're having very good discussions with him, and I said I don't think it's appropriate right now. Because if we can settle it with a very strong document, very strong, with inspections and no trust. I don't trust anybody. I don't trust anybody. So no trust. I want it very strong where we can go in with inspectors. We can take whatever we want. We can blow up whatever we want, but nobody getting killed. We can blow up a lab, but nobody's going to be in the lab, as opposed to everybody being in the lab and blowing it up, right? Two ways of doing it. Yeah, I told him this would be inappropriate to do right now because we're very close to a solution. Now, that could change at any moment, could change with a phone call. But right now, I think they want to make a deal, and if we can make a deal, save a lot of lives.
Save lives through negotiation instead of escalation. That is the Trump doctrine working worldwide. From restoring law and order in D.C. to managing complex foreign policy, today's Oval Office events showed American leadership is back. And if this report opened your eyes, smash that subscribe button. Final thoughts now, coming your way. Now, Judge Jeanine Pirro, as D.C.'s top prosecutor, changes everything. The woman who created America's first domestic violence bureau, who revolutionized how we prosecute cyber predators, who took on cases other prosecutors called impossible, she's now hunting D.C.'s worst criminals, gang members, cartel killers, corrupt officials. Your protection has just expired. Pirro doesn't play politics. She plays for keeps. And while previous administrations let D.C. descend into chaos, Trump just deployed a legal weapon of mass destruction against crime. The message is crystal clear. America's capital will be safe again. No more catch and release, no more two-tier justice, no more coddling criminals while victims suffer. So here's my question for you. Should every major city appoint prosecutors like Pirro who actually put criminals in prison? A simple yes or no in the comments below. The criminal coddling era just ended in D.C. And remember, show your support for real justice. Grab your next news gear from the shop. It is linked down below.